Sri Lanka.
Hello and welcome to the national news of ChannelEye on Rupavahini. I'm Delanjali Anand. Joining me is Lakshita Idrisinghe, and we are going to see what the stories that have made headlines for tonight. Two new private companies are to provide petrol and diesel. The US Federal Bank increases interest rates after 30 years. The Pakistan government requests people to reduce the number of teas they drink for a day. The public service circular to stay at home on Fridays has been issued. All government and government-approved private schools have been given a holiday tomorrow. SJB proposes to purchase oil from a Middle East country under a long-term credit line. The Paddy Marketing Board decides to increase quantity of rice issued to the market up to 10,000 metric tons. People searching for alternatives amidst the crisis.
We start off with the top story for tonight. Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara says that two new international private companies have been selected to supply petrol and diesel. The minister said that another private company has been permitted to supply aviation fuel. The minister mentioned this during a media briefing in Colombo today. Minister Kanchana Wijesekara said that the refinery produces 350 metric tons of petrol daily. Apart from that, 600 metric tons of diesel, burnt oil, aviation oil and gas is produced by the refinery. Those products are added to the reserves as an additional reserve. The Russian ambassador asked to send the reply letters to make an intervention. Details have been sent to the Sri Lankan ambassador in Russia, Professor Janita Lienage. Measures are being taken continuously at the diplomatic level to solve the issue. Expectations are kept on the third part of the Indian credit line. Although official approval has not been given, hopes are being kept to get another $500 million credit line to purchase petrol and diesel for at least another 3 months. He also said that Norachole power plant was temporarily closed since engineers could not be gotten down for maintenance due to quarantine activities in China. The Minister of Power and Energy, the Ministry of Power and Energy says that unloading of fuel from the diesel ship that arrived in the country will commence tonight. The ship has carried 40,000 metric tons of diesel. Ceylon Petroleum Corporation will publish about all categories of fuel to be distributed among Sipetco filling stations on its website www.sipetco.gov.lk for the information of the public. Issuing a statement, the corporation said the details are also included in the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation Facebook page. Long queues can be seen near filling stations in urban and rural areas. It is reported that priority is given to essential services when issuing fuel. Petroleum Corporation has requested the public only to stay in the queues near filling stations that have been mentioned in the corporation website. A tense situation has occurred this morning near a filling station in Bandaragama town. Additional troops have been called to bring the situation under control. The people have protested when the distribution of fuel was suspended as the 600 litres limit that should be kept for essential services had reached. Following discussions between the army and the manager, fuel to the maximum of 1,000 rupees was issued to a customer. Meanwhile, the circular related to staying at home on Fridays for 3 months was issued today.
It was issued according to a decision taken at the cabinet meeting on the 13th. The circular is effective from the 24th. The objective is to give the opportunity for state officials to cultivate food crops in their home gardens by staying at home on Fridays. The circular has said that the provisions in the circular are not relevant to the organizations that provide essential services including water, electricity, health, security services, education, transport, harbours and airports, and the institutions that a secretary would decide to keep open on Fridays. Those organizations should consider the relevant day as a normal official duty day. The relevant organizations should prepare a program to monitor and to encourage home garden cultivations and food crop production through the Agricultural Research Production Assistance or economic development officers in the division. If the officials have already planned a methodology to work from home, duties should be performed during that day. The officials of offices which are closed on Fridays should not be deployed for service on the Friday, Saturday or Sunday on overtime payment basis or holiday payment basis. The officials who are working from home should also not be deployed for work on overtime basis or holiday payment basis on Saturdays or Sundays. The circular has said that instructions of the Finance Ministry Secretary should be followed when applying the circular for public enterprises. If a public holiday falls within the 5 days of the working week, the Friday of that week should be considered as a normal working day and offices should be kept open. The Judicial Services Commission is scheduled to give instructions to organizations related to the judicial sector when implementing this cabinet decision.
Now, in the meantime, the Ministry of Education has declared a holiday for all government and government-approved private schools tomorrow. Schools will function as usual from Monday.
Then Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says that a roadmap to overcome the economic crisis will be tabled in Parliament.
We'll come to that news item in a while. In the meantime, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa says that opportunities in the industrial sector should be enhanced to foreign investors to earn foreign exchange soon.
Regulations that have been there for a long time have become an obstacle for investments. During the progress review meeting of the Ministry of Industries, the President said that strategies should be followed to encourage investments for the growth of the industrial sector. The discussion took place this morning at the President's house in Colombo. The President pointed out that the need to identify industries that can earn foreign exchange and to prepare a speedy program to achieve the objective. Lengthy discussions took place on challenges faced by the industrialists amidst the foreign exchange shortage and on finding solutions. The President instructed officials to look into the possibility of using foreign exchange earned by export industries to import raw material. Minister Ramesh Pathrana said a new policy will be formulated for local industries. The minister said a major part of it has been completed and it would be presented within a short period of time. Minister Ramesh Pathrana said that a gem and jewellery industry does not develop due to the Gem and Jewellery Authority because an authority has been created there. The garment industry is developing because no one is interfering in it.
මට පේන විදියට ජෙම් ඇන්ඩ් ජුවෙලරි කර්මාන්තේ දියුණු නොවෙන්න ප්‍රධාන බාධකය තමයි ජෙම් ඇන්ඩ් ජුවෙලරි ඔතොරිටි කියන එක. ඒක ඒ අධිකාරියක් හදලානේ තියෙන්නේ. ඇයිස ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ ඇඟලුම් මේ විදියට වර්ධනය වෙන්නේ? ඇඟලුම් ඒගොල්ලෝ සොයන් නිර්ණයක් තියෙන නියාමනයක්. ආණ්ඩුවෙන් කවුරුත් ඇඟිලි ගහන්නේ නැහැ.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa asked whether the systems in Thailand and Hong Kong have been studied and suggested to follow them. He asked to find the industries that can be developed soon. Secretary to the Ministry of Industries, General Dayarat Naika said that regulations at many state institutions discourage commencing new industries and to maintain the industries that have been launched. The President pointed out if steps were not taken to find solutions by all organizations which give approval for industries on the same table, investors cannot be attracted. A group of people, including President's head of staff, Anuradha Dissanayake, were present on the occasion.
Meanwhile, South Korean Ambassador Jeon Bon-jin says that they will give their full support to Sri Lanka to solve the present economic crisis. He said this when he met President Gotabaya Rajapaksa this afternoon at the President's house in Fort. The President extended his greetings to Yoon Suk-yeol, who was elected as new President of South Korea, and for his party's excellent victory. The President requested the ambassador to increase job opportunities given for local youth and to invite entrepreneurs to invest in the industrial sector.
The Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says that a roadmap to overcome the economic crisis will be tabled in Parliament.
It was disclosed during a discussion with a group of parliamentarians on the present economic situation. The Prime Minister said he hopes to complete and implement the roadmap after getting views of the parliamentarians. Secretary to the Ministry of Finance explained the present economic crisis and the government's long-term and medium-term targets to overcome the situation. Thereafter, discussions took place on the views and proposals of the parliamentarians to minimize the economic crisis in the country.
The Paddy Marketing Board has decided to increase the quantity of rice issued to the market up to 10,000 metric tons. The Minister gave the instructions during a special discussion today at the board. Minister Mahinda Amaravira said that Paddy Marketing Board has more than 43,000 metric tons of paddy. Apart from that, the Civil Defence Force has about 2.9 kilograms of paddy. There are some paddy stocks at seed farms as well. Paddy is also there at NLDB. All those paddy will be converted into rice and distributed within next few days. Thereafter, there will not be a rice shortage. Consumer Affairs Authority's Badula District Office conducted raids yesterday to nab traders who sell rice for higher prices in Bandaravela town. They took legal action against 7 trade stores that did not display price of rice and for selling rice at higher prices. Consumer Affairs Authority conducted raids in the Polonnaruwa district to find traders who sold rice at high prices and those who did not display prices. Raids have been conducted in Batiklo to nab traders who sell rice for high prices. The officials inspected rice mills and trade stores. Steps were taken to file court cases against 8 business establishments which sold rice for high prices.
Harvesting of paddy at Ampara Potuvil Divisional Secretariat area commenced today. 3 farm organizations cultivated paddy using water distributed from a rotte tank. 600 families are cultivating paddy under this irrigation scheme. Meanwhile, harvesting of paddy at Akkarepattu area cultivated with the water from Senanayaka Samudra is scheduled to commence next week.
Now, people in various areas of the country are searching for creative solutions to face the prevailing economic crisis.
Foreigners who are staying in the country are also showing a keen interest in this regard. Enrico, who is a German motor mechanical engineer staying in the country on tourist visa, has produced 3-wheeler which can travel 70 kilometers with 4 battery chargers with electricity. Mr. Rico said that he produced the 3-wheeler by purchasing the discarded 3-wheeler and repairing it for about 5 months. The batteries can be charged using electricity at homes. It can travel 70 to 80 kilometers from one charge at a speed of about 60 kilometers per hour. He said it can be introduced to the market for about 1 million rupees if the government gives its support. As a technical official, he has contributed to the world-renowned Formula and GT motor cars.
My experience is 25 years of motorsport engineering, and I've been 5 years ago, first time visiting Sri Lanka, come here and I was like, yes, that is the country I want to live. And then, because at home in Germany, I was starting as a hobby converting cars to electric. Fuel price goes up. Food price goes up, and because of the fuel price, this is affecting each other. And I said, okay, let's start. And I made an order from some parts I want to test. I start building this 3-wheeler, and now I'm in the phase for that we can test everything. And we are close to make production line. Now we need also support. I mean, we have here a product which is working, It's not the final product yet, but it is working already. This would be a massive effect to environment and also to economy. The economy will change because they don't need any petrol anymore. So government is saving many dollars on importing.
Plans are afoot to complete the work on large and small-scale water supply projects which are in the final stages of construction.
It was decided to resolve the issues related to those projects as soon as possible. These were stated at the progress review meeting of the Ministry of Water Supply and Drainage chaired by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the President's House, Colombo, yesterday. The President inquired about the progress of water projects implemented under local and foreign funds. At present, 2,337 large, medium and small-scale water supply projects are being implemented under local and foreign funds. Officials pointed out that many of these have made successful progress. 467,808 new water supply connections have been provided from 2019 to date, and by 2025, the targeted total number of households will be 5,946,352. In order to provide clean drinking water to the people, the Department of National Community Water Supply has implemented 704 new village-based community water supply projects, including 84 proposed projects in the discussion with the village program. It was also decided to minimize the damage to the environment from large-scale tube wells operated for commercial purposes, to conduct a complete census of tube wells, bore wells and agricultural wells, and to prepare plans to conserve groundwater in the event of large-scale land allotment. Officials revealed that by April 2022, all consumers, including households, commercial enterprises, government agencies and schools, owed to the National Water Supply and Drainage Board nearly 7,500 million rupees. Minister Keheli Ramokwella, Chief of Staff of the President, Anuradha Dissanayake, Secretary to the Ministry of Water Supply and Drainage, Monty Ranathunga, and heads of lines institutions were also present at the discussion. Now, Samag Jana Balawege has proposed to the government to purchase oil from a Middle East country under a long-term credit line.
Parliamentarian S.M. Marika mentioned this during a media briefing today. MP S.M. Marika said that the people have to pay for the loss that occurred due to the delay in unloading the gas from the ship. He has said as the opposition, they proposed to the Prime Minister to hold discussions with Middle Eastern countries to get a credit line facility for 6 months or for 1 year. If the money spent at present on oil is used for gas and fertilizer, those two main problems can be solved thereafter. Herds of elephants can be seen at Minerian National Wildlife Park these days.
Caretaker of the Wildlife Park, PKMM Pradeep Kumar, said they can be seen for about 5 months from May to September. Mineri Wildlife Park was named as the National Wildlife Park on 12 August 1997. It was declared as a wildlife sanctuary in 1938. It is spread over 889 hectares of land and it is one of the most beautiful wildlife parks in the country. Asia's largest herds of elephants can be seen at the park. Mr. Pradeep Kumar said that daily income of the park exceeds 200,000 rupees with the arrival of tourists. That's all we have on local news. Stay tuned for international stories coming up next. Welcome back. On foreign news, heavy fighting continues in Severodonetsk, Luhansk, where an estimated 1,000 civilians are sheltering inside the Azot chemical plant in Ukrainian officials said. An overnight Russian air-launched rocket strike hit a suburb of the northern Ukrainian city of Sumy, killing 4 and wounding 6, the region's governor has said. He said another rocket strike hit the Dobropilya district, which lies next to the Russian border today, followed by 26 mortar rounds fired from across the border. Meanwhile, French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi have arrived in Kyiv. They are expected to discuss Ukraine's EU candidacy with President Volodymyr Zelensky. Essential supplies are running out for the thousands of civilians trapped in Severodonetsk, many sheltering in the Azot chemical plant, the UN warns. The Ukrainian officials said food supplies and health provisions were also running out in Severodonetsk.
The US Central Bank has announced its biggest interest rate rise in nearly 30 years as it ramps up its fight to rein in soaring consumer prices. The Federal Reserve said it would increase its key interest rate by 0.75% to a range of 1.5% to 1.75%. The rise, the third since March, comes after inflation in the US surged unexpectedly last month. More hikes are expected, adding to the uncertainty facing the economy. Forecasts showed that officials expect the rate the Fed charges banks to borrow could reach 3.4% by the end of the year. The moves rippling out to the public in the form of higher borrowing costs for mortgages, credit cards and other loans.
And yes, that's all we have for tonight. Do join us tomorrow at the very same time for the Channel I News at 8:50 p.m. I'm Delanjali together with Lakshita signing off for tonight.
Good night.